Okay, so we're back here today, and just to recap again, this is our How We Live with the HVAC Life video series. This is part 2. If you guys haven't already, I would strongly encourage you guys to go watch part 1 first. There'll be a teaser card popping up right now with a link to part 1, so that way you guys can kind of get some context as to what we're doing. But I will reintroduce ourselves. My name is Chris, and I produce the HVACR videos. I make these videos just to help the next technician to share the mistakes that I've made and to share the little bit of knowledge that I have to try to help the next guy, okay? Next to me, I have my wife, Jill, sitting here.
Hi.
And we just kind of decided to do a little project where we're going to kind of shed some light on how we as a couple have learned to navigate the HVAC life and how to deal with some of the hurdles that we've run into. We are not professionals. We are not.
Still run into them.
Yeah, we still run into those problems to this day. We're not professionals. We're just sharing how we have, what the problems that we have run into and how we've learned to deal with them. At least we think.
Made it through so far.
Made it through so far. So where we kind of wanted to start was in the very beginning, before we had children. We were both working a lot. She was a waitress, and I was obviously an HVAC technician, and we got married, and then we decided quickly that we were going to buy a house. We bought a house, and like most people that were starting out, we weren't making very much money at the time, and we bought way too much of a house for us. We bought it right as the market was going up in 2005, so just before it peaked. We bought a house for way too much money, and we just realized a lot of things after we did that.
I think we went into it with the wrong outlook. Like, with a house, when you're buying a house, you typically go into it like, this is my house, this is going to be it. We went into it with, okay, like, we'll see if we can make this work. And if it doesn't, we'll turn around and sell it.
Yeah. And
that's why we went with such a bigger house, a more expensive house.
Yeah. And, we bought a house with no traffic, about 45 minutes away from where I worked. You transferred up into the area. So we currently were living, before we bought the house, we were living in the Inland Empire. And I was working, my office was in Riverside, California, and we bought a house in Victorville, which was 45 minutes away. And at the time, Victorville was an up-and-coming area. Houses were, quote-unquote, cheap for California. I know a lot of you guys in the Midwest and some of the places back east are not going to think what we say is cheap, but it was nuts, okay? It was a struggle for us, but it was the only place we could afford a house. We had to move out of our normal area to go up there. 45 minutes without traffic was kind of a lie, because once we got there, we realized that a lot of other people had the same idea as us, and they moved to the same area. So therefore,
and then it's also the main way to Vegas.
That's right.
So any holiday weekend, it was like, if you wanted anybody to come up and visit you, that was a struggle, because somebody's going to be sitting in traffic.
And I would say that on a normal day, again with no traffic, it was 45 minutes, but more commonly, pretty much every day that I went up and down the hill, it was about an hour and a half each way, because we sat in traffic going down the hill with everybody else commuting, and then I sat in traffic going up the hill with everybody commuting. So on average, I spent 3 hours a day just traveling up and down the hill we lived on, up in Victorville, to get to work, and that was added to my normal 8 to 10 hour day at the time.
Yeah, so you would even leave early to try to beat traffic, so sometimes you left much earlier than you.
Yeah, on average, my days normally started at 7 a.m. I used to have to be at my restaurants by 7 a.m., and I would leave at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Is when I would leave, just to be safe.
4:30, huh?
Yeah, 4:30, somewhere in there, just to be safe. Because, again, I'm a person that on time is a half an hour early. And that's just the way that I work, even to this day. I think I've even gotten you guys used to something like that. But
yeah, we're usually early.
We will sit places and wait for people to get there, so that way we can, be places
early.
Time. Yeah, be on time, exactly. So we moved to a place that was way too far away. So because of that, flash forward to when we had children, I didn't get to be at a lot of the stuff, okay? Even when you were pregnant with our first daughter, I probably made it to a handful of the doctor's appointments.
Yeah, and we kept our doctors down, the 45 minutes away. We didn't move doctors. We never moved doctors. Because there wasn't too many options up there from what I understood. So I just went ahead and stayed with what we knew, good care and stuff, but it was a drive always. So
Yeah,
that was
it was
another thing, like just not making everything, not the whole life up there. So that was kind of hard.
Yeah, it was, and it's funny because we're kind of remembering as we're going through this. Jill and I are both remembering things. We're reminding each other
Yeah.
of things that we both
Like, oh, you
forgot.
forget.
You
We
forget
used to
because
live like that.
yeah, we used to live like that for a long time. So I wasn't able to make it to a lot of the family functions. Or I'm sorry, my kids' functions. For whether it was dance once our kids got older, or just school assemblies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I
Yeah,
ever.
no, because anytime I ever said, you were like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to make that. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to make that. And yeah, so I don't really, I mean, I think there was like
I remember
school
making it.
festivals and different
Yeah, I
things.
don't think I did that, but I
yeah.
remember making it to our daughter's preschool graduation. That's one of the only things I remember
Yeah, you did come to that.
was our daughter's preschool graduation, and then I remember our daughter's first day of kindergarten because
I
she went
don't
to
know.
school behind us.
Did you go to that?
Yeah, I
don't
went.
know.
I remember like going to drop her off at school that day because I stayed home or something, or went to work late or something. But I mean, there was so much that I didn't make it to, guys.
It's very minimal.
And there's a lot of regret that I have there too for a lot of stuff. And I'll explain the regret as we get further into this, and that'll kind of make more context into everything. But so, moving up there was just something we had to do. Now, what were some of the hurdles? Some of the things that I could think of by moving up there was the lack of family and friends. I mean, we had some friends, but
Yeah, we had a good family friend move up there as well. Like,
kind of with us, huh?
yeah, kind of around the same time. So that was nice having her up there. But, schedules get busy. People are busy. We have different things going on. And, yeah, it was still different not having, family close by. Even though when we moved up there, it was like, it's not that far, like it'll be fine. And I remember we were doing something with your family and your cousin said, oh, haven't you like joined a mom's group yet? And I had no idea what that was. She told me to look up this website and she was like, they should be up there. And when I did, there was one and it was completely out of my comfort zone. But yeah, I went and met with a group of moms and then it was pretty awesome.
What
Made
was
some
what
new
was
friends.
the meetup? Meetup.com?
Meetup.com, yeah. And then even recently too now, like my kids are bigger and stuff, but still a lot of like family, friends are far away and different schedules. So I kind of roll back into that and we join another mom's group and meeting new families and friends. It's always nice.
And the moms group, the first time you joined the moms group, up when we were up in the Victorville area, obviously you had a really close family friend who's still a very close family friend. I wouldn't even call them a friend. It's a family member. I mean,
Yeah.
We've basically all adopted each other. Her family and our families kind of intermingled together, and we've become closer than brothers and sisters, I would say. But when you did join the moms group, we still have a lot of those family friends to this day. The first, out of maybe like the 10 friends you made or 15 friends, we probably still communicate.
Yeah, there's a good group of ladies out there that we're still, we still keep in touch and some of us still get together. So yeah, it was really like important and it helped a lot with Chris being gone so much. And
that was something that really helped me was knowing that Jill had something to do, because in the beginning, when we first had our first child, you were just home alone by yourself. I mean, occasionally a friend from high school or something like that would come up and visit you, or we had our close family friend that was living near us, but you didn't have a lot of people. And
yeah, the moms group helped with like plans. Like you had things like they would, they go do things and you're like, oh, okay. Like I don't just have to go with me and my kid. Like there's going to be other people that I know there too. And it just makes it more like welcoming and fun and exciting.
So that was a very, very cool thing that I was super happy about, was once she joined the moms group, because that just gave me so much more comfort to know that she had people to lean on, a large group of people now to lean on. So it wasn't just one person that's counting on all the time. So that was a very, very great thing.
And other people to talk to, if you're busy during the day, like I still had, friends and, people to talk to.
We joke though, or at least I joke. I have kind of a dry sense of humor and probably an obnoxious and say things that I shouldn't say at certain times, but I was a myth. I mean, I wasn't around. So it was very rare that anybody from the moms group knew me or ever saw me.
Yeah.
There was a few.
He does exist, I promise.
Yeah, it was that
Still,
myth.
Though, today,
yeah,
you do exist, I promise.
Yeah, I think that, with the advent of social media, it's helped out a lot because social media was still kind of up and coming at that time.
Yeah.
Facebook or whatever we use. I mean, Instagram didn't even exist, I don't think. Twitter, it was just Facebook at the time.
Now you're dating ourselves. I'm not that old.
Well, at least I didn't take it to MySpace because MySpace was even bigger. Come on, I like MySpace better than Facebook because you could have music on your page and that was cool.
Yeah, I do miss that. They should bring that back.
So at this point, Jill's made some friends, but it's not enough for her, and she's starting to struggle with the fact that I wasn't home, right?
Yeah, I think I missed you. I needed help. I needed backup. I don't know.
And, you kind of had planted a seed a few times, and I really wasn't having it about moving and about moving back to where we came from, back down to the Inland Empire.
Yeah, I just started thinking that it would just be so much more convenient. The traffic then, too, is even worse. It kind of just seemed like every day there was something else, and it was like either you weren't coming home or it was taking hours to get home. And I just thought, man, it would be so much better, like, if we just lived down the hill. Like, you would be home already.
And I really wasn't into that. I at the time. But, I'm going to add some context to that, too, what you just said. It's funny looking back on it now because there was several times that I didn't come home. And when I say I didn't come home, I wasn't doing anything bad, but I was thinking about work. And again, we lived up in Victorville. We had to go through the Cajon Pass. And there was often times when the Cajon Pass would get shut down. And I was deathly mortified of getting stuck up there and not being able to go to work. I was always worried, what's going to happen if I can't make it to the work? I wasn't worried about getting fired. I was worried about the business, me not being there. Again, I'm kind of a control freak. So me not being there stressed me out. So there was many times when we would have a rainstorm coming or the potential for snow. And I would just go stay at my dad's house. And I wouldn't come home. There was a snowstorm that we had where I wasn't home for 3 days.
Yeah.
And she was, again, this was kind of before the moms group or maybe right in the beginning of the moms group because she didn't have a support group at the time. She didn't have a lot of people. And we had some unprecedented 11 inches of snow at our house. You were snowed in for one full day for sure where you couldn't leave.
Yeah, I remember bringing snow in.
Yeah, and, I couldn't be there. I was stuck, 40 miles away and couldn't come home. And
it melted the next day, so it was okay.
No, I was gone for 2 days, I think.
A day or two. I don't know. It was just enough. And, I mean, we had food and everything we needed. It was just, we wished you could have been there with us, and then... And
I wished I could have been there, too. And little things like... we joke about it to this day, but when we lived up there, the climate's a little bit different, and they were prone.
A little. You're so funny.
Yeah, she thinks it was that much worse. We'll get into that in a minute.
But you didn't live up there like I did.
And that's funny because I didn't live up there.
You didn't live
I slept up there.
Yeah,
that's what I did. I slept up there. I did not live up there.
I grocery shopped in that freezing cold wind.
Yeah. But one of the
though.
things that I missed out on the most, and this is so silly, but I missed out on the thunderstorms. Do you remember how excited? It was very rare. We would have thunderstorms up there every summer. We would have a lot of thunderstorms, and it was very rare that I was home for a lightning and thunderstorm. And I guys, I'm obsessed with lightning and thunder. I love it. The very few times that we were up there, do you remember the times when I would drag you guys all over the place so we could chase the storm and go watch the lightning?
I do remember that. We were driving everywhere. You're like, it's over there.
I would follow it through the valley, out into Lucerne Valley or up into Barstow, just to be able to see the lightning and thunderstorms and hear it and be close to it and smell it. I was so, to this day, lightning and thunder is one of my favorite things. But those are some of the things that I missed out on was you guys calling me and saying, hey, there's a thunderstorm, and I wasn't there, and it's little things like that. Just the little family functions that I wasn't home for. So you had planted the seed, you had kind of started talking about moving, and I just really wasn't having it. In my head, we were fine. What we were doing worked, but in your head, it didn't.
Yeah, not so much. I thought it would just be better, easier to be closer, to move down.
So
just started kind of getting, fixed on the idea that that was going to like fix everything. I don't know.
Yeah. And to make a long story short, we ended up moving. Okay. After a couple of years of going back and forth, we moved. And I will tell you that, and I've told you this many times, the first day that I woke up before work and I now lived, 5 minutes from my office, I woke up 45 minutes before work, took a shower, or got up, and I remember thinking, this is why we moved down here. Like, I was so excited to think, like, it was so normal for me to live an hour and a half away from work. It didn't faze me anymore. Getting 6 hours of sleep, 5 hours of sleep a night was no big deal for me. To this day, I can't think of getting 5 hours of sleep right now. Like, that would drive me insane. I need 8+ hours of sleep. And I get that now. But back then I didn't. You guys, it made our lives so much better.
It's a world of difference. Like, the first day of school, too. Like, you remember you getting to walk our oldest up for school. The first year, too. Again, we had, like, daddy-daughter dance, and you were there for that.
I was
and
there
was,
for...
like, spring festivals, and you were home for that. And it was just like, wow.
Yeah,
we had the
really,
whole family again.
Yeah, I quickly realized, like, again, how much I missed and how much it affected us, because there were so many school functions that I went to that first year, and it was insane. I went to everything, and I was able to be there. The daddy-daughter dance, that was so huge for me, to be able to go to a daddy-daughter dance. And like you said, to walk our daughter to school for the first day, walk her up. Like,
and even now, too, as I'm remembering as we're talking, is like, sometimes you beat us home in the afternoon, and it's like, when you don't, it's kind of like, we're like, where's he at?
Yeah.
There's a lot less late nights.
It was so hard for me to think about moving. It was so hard for me to move down here. But once I did it and I lived here for, at least by the first week, I was hooked. And I couldn't imagine being that far away again. And we struggle with that to this day because, we're talking about moving again.
Yeah.
And, the housing prices are insane right now. And it's just stupid how much houses cost. And like in the areas that we want to live, I can't fathom paying that much money. And
unless they're 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
And we just don't want to do that.
And
again.
Here we are like looking, okay, well, we can afford houses that are, in this area, but we won't do it. We won't do it. I won't do it. There's no way, because I'm not going to move us. I have these horrible images of if we move to that area, wherever it may be, 45 minutes away.
All the traffic you're going to sit in.
Not even the traffic, just the grocery store visits. And, where we live now, it made our lives so much better to finally decide to move closer to where we worked. Yeah, we had to sacrifice a little bit. It costs us more money, but those sacrifices are worth it to me. And they've made, it's so much nicer to be able to be there for my kids now. Now we have our second daughter's in 4th grade now, or she's going into 4th grade. And, to be able to drop our kids off at school, to be able to surprise our kids. I mean, I'm not saying I do it all the time.
Yeah, you can pick them up now from school. That would have never been
No.
In the cards at all up there.
I don't think that our kids' schools would let me pick them up there because they didn't know who I was, besides just being a name on the emergency pickup sheet, Okay. I mean, yeah, it was crazy, guys. So for us, the hurdle of us living so far away from where we worked and where our lives were, we thought that would solve our problems. We thought just being able to afford a house and we could make a new life. It didn't really work out for us that way.
Yeah, it was hard. It depends on what you are, what works for you guys. If if it, we thought it worked, but then there's a lot of times like just petty stuff. Like I think I would feel like irritated with you and I'd be short or, and it was just like, I didn't like where that was going. So I don't feel like that, was working for us. But if you can live, far and, what's the word? Travel or commute to work and make your family life work, but it does feel a lot easier to be closer to work.
And to each their own. Like, because, for some people it may work. Just for us, that was a struggle that really added to everything. And it wasn't helping us.
I kind of feel like we're, stuck.
Stuck. That's a great word.
Stuck a lot.
And I think that's where we're going to end this for this time. Okay, we kind of covered what I think we needed to cover. We have a lot more to go into, guys. Some things that we want to address in some of the next ones. would be, I really want to go into, and it'll kind of intermingle back into the house stuff that we had to deal with. But I want to talk about my depression, my anger, anxiety, and then I want to talk about your your health problems that you had too that affected you, because that all intertwines into our whole story and the struggles that we went through. And guys, I just want to clarify, we are not experts, again, in what we are talking about. We're just talking about how it worked for us.
And what we've been through and where we...
and our hopes are that, again, our hopes are that we can, bring light to what some people might be dealing with and might not know how to address things. Again, don't follow just what we say. Obviously, you want to consult someone who really knows what they're talking about. Family therapists, family counselors, different things, But, just maybe our hopes are that us sharing our story might help to bring some context or help you with whatever you're going through too. So I just want to say thank you guys so very much for taking the time to watch this video. Please, please, please leave us some feedback. Let us know. Guys, just like I say in my technical videos, if I'm saying something wrong, tell me. I'm always looking for improvement. And guys, if you can tell us something that worked for you, tell us in the comments. Send me an email, hvacrvideos@gmail.com. If you want to address something that Jill says, just put her name first. Say this is for Jill, and then talk, send me an email, send me a text in the comments. You guys, we really, really want to hear your feedback, whether it be good or bad, or, just share your story with us too. And in hopes that maybe you can help us with something, because we still deal with stuff every single day. We're still struggling to this day. So again, thank you guys so very much. And I guess we will see you guys on the next one.
All right.
All right.
Bye.